We are back, and we are once again talking about another anime. And when I was looking for a show to watch, I was kind of thinking I wanted something a little more mid, like not very high rated. And that's like exactly what I found. And the show I'm talking about is called Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. And this show is rated a 6.73, but when I watched the trailer, I didn't see anything that would indicate why it would be that low. It looked really good in the trailer. But I'll be honest, after watching the trailer, the main reason I wanted to watch this show, it felt like it was calling out to me, was the main character's voice actor. Because the main character's voice actor in the show has done some of the funniest and most iconic female characters in my opinion. They were the voice actor for the Demon Lord in the Level 1 Demon Lord and One Room Hero anime, the voice actor for Jahi in The Great Jahi Will Not Be Defeated, the voice actor for Uzaki-chan in the anime Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out, and even the voice actor for Satania in Gabrielle Dropout. And that is a very funny character in my opinion. So that voice just had me more interested in the show, so I had to check it out. And also I can guarantee you've never seen this show, because almost no one has watched it. I didn't look at how many people watched the show until after I had already finished it. And there's only a little over 6,000 people who have watched and rated the show, and 18,000 people who are at least interested in it. So this show is very small in terms of the usual amount of members. And the show is basically about the harvest goddess, the main character, getting banished from her home, and then having to go live on an island full of like demons and stuff, and start farming there while figuring out stuff about the demons. But for quite a bit of the time, it's a pretty relaxing, like, farming type show, even though the tags are action and fantasy. And honestly, it wasn't that bad. I wouldn't call it mid, but I definitely do have quite a few interesting complaints about it. But let's start with the good stuff. The animation and art were honestly very nice for a show that has like this little members and a pretty low rating. It all looked very clean. The voice acting was great. There was a very unique and diverse character cast, and the concept was honestly pretty intriguing. And honestly, my favorite part of the show was probably when they were farming. I think it was just really chill and cool. And I'm pretty sure the first half of the show was mainly farming with a little bit of combat, and then the second half of the show was mainly combat with a little bit of farming. And honestly, after like the first 6 episodes, I was like, oh, this show is great. I have no idea why it's rated like below a 7, right? But when the action and fighting came in, the story of the show got a little bit like messy and not like, and it didn't feel like it transitioned very well. And that was one of my biggest complaints, to be honest, was that a lot of stuff would just like happen like that, like out of nowhere. And I think the biggest reason that people probably rated it pretty low is that there was never any wounds or blood or anything, except for maybe like 1 or 2 times in the show. So the main character would defeat enemies with a sword or something, or a scythe, and there would be no blood. They would just kind of like tense up and then fall over, and then they were either dead or not dead depending on the situation. But it didn't bother me too much. Also, when they would defeat some of their big enemies, they would just be thinking, wow, if I kill them here, I'm no different than them or something. And so they wouldn't really kill their enemies, and then their enemies would come back and fight them again later on. Like, what are we doing? Come on. And when they would like switch through like the mini arcs in this show, or like each different plot point, it wouldn't be like a smooth transition. It would be like, boom, it's happening right now, and immediately just like throw us into like a new situation or a new problem with no time to rest. And usually the problems were just kind of like complete nonsense that we didn't even know could happen. And I honestly wasn't too big a fan about how they put all these weird little problems in, and at the end of these little problems, everyone just grew so much closer as friends. Like, it was a very big cliche. And at the very, very last episode, episode 13, I think I found the reason for all of my complaints, and the reason why the show is rated pretty low. And it's because I feel like this show was made for a demographic of kids. I don't know why it took me 13 episodes to realize, but I'm 99% sure that this was like meant to be towards a younger audience. And it would make sense because all of the characters look pretty wacky or unique, and most of them look really young, and they act pretty weird, and there's like no actual bloodshed, and everything ends up happy usually. It doesn't seem or look like a cartoon, just like an anime for a young audience. And if that is the case, it explains literally everything. Then everything makes sense. But even if it is made for kids, I was pretty interested for the entire 13 episodes, and it was good enough for me to binge the entire thing. So I mean, it can't be that bad of a show. And apparently the source material for this show came from a game on Steam that goes by the same name, and it looks honestly pretty good. So that's a pretty cool nugget of knowledge. But yeah, final thoughts. A lot of unique characters. The show is pretty good. I think it was made for a young demographic, but it's definitely enjoyable to any audience. I'll probably rate it a 7 out of 10. It was good. Nothing too crazy though. And this anime does actually have a second season guaranteed to come out at some point. The release date is still unknown, but it will be coming sometime in the future, so that's really cool as well. But anyway, I definitely recommend checking it out if you are interested, so you can make your own opinions. But yeah, I think that's going to be everything for me, so I'll see you guys all next time.